Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. In case you're new here, my name is Sharon and I create content around my passion for the science of beauty, wellness, and all things self-development. So in case you're interested in any or all of those, make sure to subscribe, turn on the notification bell, and also sign up to my newsletter in a link in the description box. I don't want today's video to be too long-winded, so I will leave timestamps in the description box and in a pinned comment down below. And then any useful links or references that I will mention in this video will be shared on the blog post accompanying this video. Check out the description box for more information. Also, I am still learning and I may make some mistakes, so feel free to correct me if I give any inaccurate information so we can learn from each other. In addition to gaining some financial literacy, I think that tracking your expenditure, knowing where you are and where you stand, is one of the most crucial first steps towards financial freedom. Because in order to plan for where you want to be, you need to know where you are starting from. I've been tracking my expenditure for the past year and I've been using an app called Moneyfy. I came across it and one thing I really liked about it is it has a simple user interface. I love that it has the Kenyan currency on there. Plus, it makes it very easy to log my data. Another reason why I like it is that the free version is available both for iOS and Android. One thing about it, at least for the free version, is the categories are very general. So what I do to personalize it is that I make a comment under each log. So for example, if I ordered from groceries, then I'll put in brackets when I log in the amount, Carrefour. I just want to be able to recall exactly where I spent my money, and sometimes I'm even more specific about what I bought. So what I've been doing with Moneyfy is I log the money immediately I spend it. So if I buy lunch, I try my best to log that amount immediately because I tend to forget and I really don't enjoy paper receipts. It's so annoying to go back to them and try and track with all of them. I know some people prefer to do that. I'd rather log it on my phone on the go. That's been working well for me so far, but with the app I don't get a bird's eye view, big picture of how I've spent my money in the month, though I can look at it from a month's perspective. I'd rather log on my spreadsheet, which is now what I started doing. So I have the Moneyfy app, which I use on a day-to-day basis to just track all of my expenses. Then at the end of the month, I'll put all of those expenses together and log them onto my spreadsheet. I found that this is the best way for me to keep track on not only my expenses, but also on just tracking my savings and everything all together, all in one place. I feel like spreadsheets work the best. I'd love to know, do you guys track your expenditure? If so, how do you do it? Do you do it on an app on your phone? Do you do it via your bank's mobile banking apps, or do you like to write it down? I know some people like to write it on pen and paper. Let me know in the comments down below. For me, I'd consider it a loose budget because what I do on that spreadsheet, I will have my projected expenditure, and then at the end of the month, I will log in my actual expenditure for the month. So my projected expenditure is what you would consider the budget, but I've been a bit lax with it. That is, like, I allow myself to shoot slightly above or below my projected expenditure. Obviously below would be better, but this is because I've only become regimented with my budget for the past 2 months. Previously, I was just getting into the hang of tracking my expenditure. So since I've been doing it briefly, I'm still tweaking my numbers to figure out what would be the right allocations to each part of my budget. Until I am confident with allocating a set amount, I'll just allow myself to track and remain within a given range until I can say that this amount will be allocated to this category. So another reason why I'm doing it a bit loosely is I do not want to approach how I spend my money from a place of guilt or shame, and I don't shame myself into not spending money. So I want to see how I realistically spend my money first, then create a budget that allows me to cut out the unnecessary expenses but still live a comfortable life. What I plan to do with my budget is, as I mentioned, I'd like to cut out unnecessary expenses. Another thing I want to do is to allocate percentages to the different categories as opposed to allocating amounts. And what I want with these percentages is they become fixed, maybe for the rest of my life. So instead of setting maybe 2,000 shillings to my airtime bundle for the month, then I'll just say no matter what, my airtime or my phone bill will always be 2% of my total income or my total budget. One of the popular percentage allocations, especially when anyone is starting out with finances, is the 50-30-20. So 50% is for your needs, 30% is for your wants, and 20% is for savings and investments. Those are not my target percentages, but they're an idea of what I mean. So I'll be tweaking and figuring out what those percentages would look like for me and working towards them, so that regardless of my income over the years, I have a fixed percentage allocation to each category. I will be leaving a link to the 50-30-20 rule, so in case any of you want to start there, you can read up more about it. I'd love to know if you do have a budget. I leave a card you can answer above, and more specifically, are you strict with it? Are you very firm? How do you track your budget? Let me know in the comments down below. An emergency fund is basically, okay, what they usually recommend, the finance gurus is who they are, is that you should have 3 to 6 months of your essential expenses locked away in case of an emergency. So by essential expenses, I mean utilities, rent, and groceries. So it doesn't include luxury budget. It's really just your bare bone essentials. So your emergency fund is just for that, emergencies. So emergencies could include unexpected medical cost. Sometimes it could be, funeral costs. It could be loss of your job or your income, or it could be, unfortunately, like in this situation where we're at home, you're not sure about your income for the next, we don't know how many months. So having an emergency fund would be very beneficial during this time. In my opinion, everyone needs an emergency fund, and it's not limited to people who are working class and earning an income. I think even if you are living off of a monthly allowance, building an emergency fund will give you some financial independence, and in the event that that monthly allowance doesn't come in, then you won't be too stressed out and you will have something that can just keep you going for that short period of time. There are several places that you could choose to keep your emergency fund. Some of the recommendations include, one could just be a simple checking account. So you could keep it in any of your banks, your bank account of choice. And the important thing is, when you're choosing your place to keep your emergency fund, it must be highly liquid. So it must be money you can easily access without any issues when it comes to withdrawal, any penalties or charges. So it needs to be a highly liquid reserve. So a checking account is obviously an easy one. You can always access it. You can get the cash today or tomorrow if you need it to. A second recommendation for emergency fund is a money market fund. So there are several of those in Kenya, and each of them have different withdrawal agreements, maintenance fees, and interest rates. So you have to look into all of them, compare, and find the one that works for you. I will leave a link to some of the more popular ones, but I'd also love to hear from you if you do invest or know about investing with money markets, which one you would recommend. So make sure you let us all know in the comments down below. So the great thing about money markets is that they are very liquid and they have pretty decent interest rates. So in comparison to just keeping your money in a bank, in a simple checking account, then you know that your emergency fund is available when you need it. But on top of that, you're getting a good interest of anywhere from like 6, sometimes up to 12 or 13% interest. And it is one of the more low risk investments. So your capital is safe. So you're guaranteed to have what you put into the account is safe. So I think it's a very good option for anyone to consider looking into money markets for not only keeping your emergency fund, but it can also be a good low risk investment to add to your portfolio. The third place where you can keep your emergency fund is in a high interest savings account. So again, this is something you'll find at different banks. Different banks have different maintenance fees, if any withdrawal terms. So are you able to access the money easily? So the liquidity of the savings also matters, and the maintenance fees. So you have to pick a bank that works for you and the one that has the most competitive interest rates. With a high interest savings account, again, it's a very safe place to keep your money. At least it's better than a checking account simply because you will be getting some interest. I'd love to hear from any of you which banks you know, especially for those who are watching from Kenya, that have very, very good interest and the lowest maintenance fees. And yeah, so you can let us know in the comments that we all sign up to those banks and get this money growing. A fourth option is the M-Shwari Lock Savings Account. So this is a service that's offered by Safaricom. I leave a link in the description box for you to read up more on it. What I like about this option is that it's very, very easy to use. It's accessible. You can just operate it entirely off of your phone. And since many people, at least as far as I know, have an M-Pesa account and tend to work with M-Pesa transfers, then this is a nice way to just save some extra cash and put it away. So the Lock Savings account also has fairly decent interest rates. It is a safe investment, so this can be a good option for your emergency fund. The last option is certificates of deposit. So these ones may not be as liquid as the other options, but again, it could be a good place to keep your emergency fund for not a very near emergency. So there's a way that you can use certificates of deposit to really earn a good interest, because the longer that the money is in the certificate of deposit, then the higher the interest rate. But then also this is an option that tends to work better for people who have a higher capital, like you're saving up a larger amount of money. So if that's you, then maybe you can look into certificates of deposit. So those are some of the places you could consider putting your emergency fund. If I didn't mention all of them, you can give some more examples, and once again, there'll be links for you to read up more on these things in my blog post. So currently, I've been able to set aside 1 month's worth of my emergency fund. It's taken me well over a year to do this, but I'm very proud of myself. It's somewhere to begin. It's better than nothing. My goal would be to have at least 3 months put away. Well, it might take up to maybe 2 years for me to do that, but slowly but surely I'd like it to grow, and hopefully at a rate of at least 1 month per year, I'll always know that no matter what, I have a stash somewhere, and more importantly, at least for me, it would be earning some interest, because when it comes to simple checking accounts, the value of that money is going to decline. So it's always better to be putting your money somewhere where it will keep growing and earning some more money for you. So let your money make you money. So those are the 3 steps that I'm taking so far, and I want to leave you some actionable steps that you can get from this video. So first, if you aren't already, track your expenditure. Try doing it for the next 3 months. Maybe for the first month, do it just as an outsider. Monitor how you spend your money, know where everything is going. Then for the second month, use that to set a template for the budget that that you'd like to have, and then from month 3 onwards, try and stick to your budget. So that goes along with the second point, which is to create and stick to a budget. The third thing is, if possible, because I know it's not possible for everyone, start working towards your emergency fund. It will always be something that's beneficial to you. You never know when you'll need it, and it's nice to know that you will always be protected and secure in the event that you need that money. So that's the end of my video. If you like this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up. If you haven't already, subscribe, turn on the notification bell, and I will see you on the next one. Make sure to leave a comment down below sharing all your tips as well. Thank you so much for watching. Always remember that your hair is your crown and your body is a temple. Embrace it, love it, and take care of it. God bless you all. Goodbye.